Hello, welcome back to my channel, Jennifer K Art. Unless you're new here, hi, welcome and have a chill art time with me today. On this channel, I like to share my art processes, tips, tricks, and creative inspiration. I'm into intuitive painting, collage, mixed media, and crafting junk journals, glue books, etc. Recently, I've been drawn to get my color card deck out and do an intuitive painting. I really love this deck. I used to have their previous version, and this one's like the 2.0, new and improved model, but I really vibe with both of them. I think people could also make their own swatches and put them together so to have their own intuitive deck to connect with. So I have another project for that, where I'm thinking of doing the whole tarot deck as collage. And I saw another crafter do this. I love that. I love that it was something that you could make very uniquely for you based on whatever you collage and that style. So back to this project. I may have felt drawn to do this because of some of the heavy shit going on. I know, this too shall pass though. I am grateful. And this kind of helps give me a prompt without so many words. But it does come with a booklet that has information for each card. You can let me know in the comments if you would want me to read those excerpts from the book for when I do this again. And with this deck, just shuffling and holding the cards kind of wakes up the creative juices for me. So whatever cards come out, it's going to inform a slight direction for the intuitive abstract that I'm going to make. It takes the color choice out of it, and I can come up with something that has those colors in it, and sometimes I will add an extra color for contrast. It really depends on how I feel it out, really. So, I have picked out some paint markers. The color vibe is crown and throat chakras. It was the intuition card for the third eye and the truth card for the throat. That's just a little extra information about those cards that came out. They were a starting point. So I went with the flow, and I felt like getting my gel plate out for this too, and use it to make a background for asemic writing. Asemic writing is, I'll just put that Google search up here. You may already be aware of it. Since I knew it could get a little messy with my gel plate involved, and with the idea I had to use acrylic inks and the fluid acrylics on it, I taped some watercolor paper down and decided to add some gesso. And that's so the fluid paint has a nice ground to adhere to. There was a little trick I learned from someone. I think it was here on YouTube. I don't know, it's been a while back. But you can do a quick stick and unstick of your tape onto your shirt or smock to help with making sure the tape doesn't pull up the paper when you need to remove it. Because I don't know about you, but I have ruined so many borders, like just ripping the tape. I had to learn how to rip the tape just right, and then I implemented that with this guy's trick to stick it to your shirt first and then put it on there. So we'll see how that turns out. I used the gel plate here as the painting tool, and I was just going with it, just seeing what happens and trusting the process. Because this painting was not about what it ends up looking like. It was about me taking the steps to do something creative, even though I haven't felt very good emotionally. But that deeper part of me knows this does feel good in the moment. The creative flow makes everything, including time, disappear. So it is my healthy vice. When I was done with the gel plate, I left it to dry on the paper where I had cleaned off the roller. When that was dry, I peeled off the gel plate and decided to make another type of intuitive painting. For context on this and future content, sometimes when I meditate, I'll get these images, scenes, and even just faces. But in this instance, I'm doing the human thing of seeing the face and the nothingness. Like, I guess you could call it like when someone is looking at clouds and they see animals or other things. So while I waited for the background to dry fully and flatten out a bit, I did a little paint doodling of the portrait that came to me. And I could tell that this face wasn't sent to me, as in like a vision in my mind's eye from spirit, you could say. It was more a mixture of recent images I've done, so you may recognize them or find some similarity with it. I have been shown scenes that I've drawn, and I don't think some of them are very good for YouTube. For instance, and I still have it dated in my sketchbook, a scene of a gentleman in a suit slumped over a really nice desk, and I don't get a lot more information. It just comes. I'm not a remote viewer necessarily because I don't really target or intend a space-time. I just set the intention to meditate, and these random things come in clearly every now and then. I knew the desk in the room felt very important, and I felt like it was the president or someone very important like that. The date was around August of 2020. Yeah, because I didn't date that drawing, it was quickly scribbled out while I had it fresh in my mind. But a few drawings later in the same sketchbook was dated August 9th, 2020. So this event never confirmed or happened, like when I had a dream about a flood and water, and not long after, maybe a month, there was a really bad flooding situation. Anyways, that's just extra. I brought it up as an example of one of the, I guess you could say, darker scenes. In another space, I had this one really cool scene. I was in another body around maybe like 1940s time. I don't know, but I was chilling, eating an ice cream cone, sitting by the White House on a bench, like where a tourist would stop. There are more, like when I slipped into the consciousness of a truck driver. I think I did draw this one. I'm not sure. I don't remember if I drew that one, but I remember it very clearly. Anyways, it was like I was him for a moment, just driving this really boring path behind another flatbed semi, and we were in a tunnel, obviously underground. I could sense the stone. I could see the stone too to my left. We were closer to the stone on the left, and it was a little more open on the right. And there was like one narrow lane. There wasn't a lane next to us coming the opposite direction. It was one lane. It looked like it was through a mountain or something. And I know there was like a line of trucks, but I could only see the flatbed in front of me, and we were going around a curve towards the left. So either way, that would have been all I could see if I were the driver. But to the right was more open in space, and there was like a railing. And then I assumed after that meditation that guy must have been really like out of it. Like, you know how you're driving and all of a sudden you're at your destination because you've done this route so many times, it's ingrained. It's become mindless and boring, kind of. I don't know, I'm still figuring it out. I just like to sketch these things down because they aren't random. It just seems that way in the moment. And honestly, I haven't practiced the remote viewing muscle. I just practice trying to stop thinking thoughts and get to a blank space. That's for my own peace. But shortly after the blank space, there is the receiving space, and that's where it happens. Because we are either thinking the thoughts or receiving them. Anyway, I was really loose with these asemic characters on this one, but I enjoyed the process, and that was the ultimate goal. My little trick to stamp the tape on your shirt before framing your paper, it worked out. The only thing was the gesso or the tape did not protect that one little edge that kind of bled through a little. Which is not a big deal for me on this one. I can always experiment with that and paint the edges black or something. Okay, I want to thank you for watching, and remember to be kind to yourself out there. Drop a like if you got something helpful for your creativity, and subscribe if you like the vibe. See you next time.